I'm stuck inside of these walls with you. I don't recognize who I've turned into. I'm losing hope and getting myself back. Everything around me is starting to turn black. Don't tell me you're hurt again. Tell me how wrong I am. Tell me how it's all my fault. Yeah, I've met my match again, starting from scratch again. Where is the pleasure in all this pain? Don't you lie to me and say it's all okay when it feels like I'm drowning. I hate to say goodbye, but it's time to go. All I need is someone I've never felt more divided than now. Every word that leaves your lips never means how it sounds. You've conquered the best of me, could have just set me free. The games that you play are just second hand. And now I'm beside myself, don't want your fucking help. Let me just go, let me just go. And don't you lie to me and say it's all okay when it feels like I'm drowning. I hate to say goodbye, but it's time to go. All I need is someone else.
I'm turning the light. We're gonna light it up, light it up, oh, light it up, light it
Good evening and welcome to tonight's Boise State Esports broadcast. I'm your host, Jacob Gem Mountain Palmer, coming to you live from the Game Pants Esports Arena in downtown Boise, Idaho. And it's Friday, so that means it's time to take a quick break from the hustle and bustle of collegiate esports, especially with all the finals that have been going on lately, and go to the high school level to see what up-and-coming talent has for us. Tonight, we bring you two Overwatch games, starting with a match of Blue Springs versus Hannibal High School in conjunction and partnership with the Missouri High School Esports Association. And of course, since it's Overwatch, I have got Madison Nerdy Bird Baines joining me to help bring all the action to you tonight. And Nerdy, one really interesting thing that for people who might have seen some of the high school matches beforehand is one thing that sticks out to me is just kind of how magnified some of the trends are on the high school level. Like the emergence of like really powerful DPSs and relates to the balance changes. You know, we see McCree being staying, on top of the meta. And especially on this level, where you kind of have that different team dynamic, some teams at a more casual level, the opportunities for like those DPS carries really kind of heightens up.
Yeah, actually, now that you point that out, I was kind of thinking it through in my brain, and you're completely right. And I think the theme that we can contribute kind of to why we see that more in the high school scene as opposed to up here is that when you're at that high school level, like with any sport, it's when you've taken it from that casual, like I do this as a hobby, especially kind of at this level, you are seeking to, be recognized and put kind of higher above the rec league level of gameplay, so to speak. So these guys are obviously going to be playing to the meta or playing to the best of their ability and forcing a different meta, so to speak, a little bit. And that is where like DPS players, when you are hard forcing metas, tend to shine a little bit. So it plays into their advantage.
Yeah, we have seen the emergence of very strong DPSs. We've seen, like I said, McCree, but also his counterpart Ash has been really good lately. And like I said, this is going to be Blue Springs versus Hannibal High School in the Missouri High School Esports Association match in Overwatch. And even some heroes that have been nerfed, like say Widowmaker, still see some play despite that 25 nerf to health.
I mean, of course, there are always people that are going to try to force a hero, even when you shouldn't try to force that hero. And I mean, we've seen that with our Torbjorns and our Junkrats here at BSU even. But in this case, the one thing that you can kind of bank on is that because you aren't playing in the higher echelon levels of skill, if you're playing a hero that most people don't like going toe-to-toe against, most chances are you can just harass the enemy team and have a ball the entire time because no one's going to come and get in your face if you're a Widowmaker and you dink 2 people once.
Well, speaking of Widowmaker, the first map that we are going to be seeing is Ilios, and especially Ruins definitely has some of a layout that can really help, say, a Widowmaker.
Oh, yes, with those long sight lines out of the spawn, they literally allow the enemy Widow to see the other team's spawn doors. That just alley access, so to speak, straight down. You can instantly kill one member of the enemy team, if not more, if you're super lucky and really good with your headshots, and completely delay anyone touching the point before your team gets there. It's really nice.
Well, and another trend that we've kind of seen at the collegiate level, which we will get back to, but first, what comes first is always Doc's keys to the game, especially for high school in Overwatch. And here is your collegiate level keys to the game. In Overwatch, it is understand your comp and play style, focus on each fight, pre-fight target priority, and commit together, just as we're talking about solo DPS carries. That teamwork is really what's going to set you apart from the rest. Doc's Keys to the Game brought to you by Count Identity Trust Global Network, delivering real-time fraud protection, account protection, and enabling personalized customer experience for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. Linked by Count's award-winning AI, the Identity Trust Global Network analyzes signals from 32 billion annual interactions in order to personalize user experiences across a spectrum of trust. From frictionless experiences to blocking fraud, Quick and Identity Trust detections deliver safe payment, account creation, and login events while reducing digital fraud, chargebacks, false positives, and manual reviews. Count.com. And as this first fight opens up, we are going to be going to the Lighthouse, it looks like.
Yeah, and so actually with this first fight engage here, I'm looking at Hannibal's comp versus Blue Springs, and they, ironically enough, both picked direct counter comps to one another if they are played properly. However, Hannibal High School is at a slight disadvantage due to having double main supports and no Lucio, so that put them at a huge speed disadvantage and allowed for Blue Springs to kind of gang up on them a little bit. But with this back and forth that is occurring with lack of target focus on point, both teams are even right now with 2 down, as we do see Blaze from Blue Springs is also able to pick up that Sombra pick, and this Doomfist is wrecking the Zarya.
Well, I heard a Bob already online used by Stinky on Hannibal. Hannibal is just about to take the point here with 2 on point, is going to be able to capture it, and that is a nice dynamite in conjunction with the Bob, allowing Stinky to pick up a double, getting Hannibal well on their way toward that 100.
They only have, it looks like just about 10% right now. However, their ultimate economy on the side of Hannibal is a little bit more in favor of them being able to sustain on that point. However, we do see their Reinhardt is kind of out swinging right now. I can only assume he's trying to do a little spy searching for that Sombra. However, they really need to be careful and honestly should be staying on point because the comp that Blue Springs has takes advantage of that wide open space outside of the point. So by putting themselves outside, they're getting themselves into a bad position from the beginning.
Well, those tanks dive right in, pick up the Mercy and the Symmetra. Casey Vet then following that with his second onto Panda, putting Hannibal at a severe disadvantage. Blue Spring having 2 ultimates in their name, but with this fight already won, I wouldn't expect to see them quite yet. And Stinky finally meets his end, going off the side, and the Diva really doing well there, getting the first pick and ultimately getting 3 in that engage.
that honestly, yes, the D.Va did a great job on that engage, but as we were talking about how there was all this open space that Blue Springs was kind of, just trying to sit out in, and Hannibal walked into it and waited for them, so to speak, by not fighting on the point. That's how they lost it. So this time they need to get to the point faster and force it on point, where both tanks aren't going to be able to just jump all over them.
Well, that is not going to be good for Hannibal as the DPS goes on to 3 of them. Stinky still managing to pick up, but the DPS didn't hit Stinky, and he's going to let Blue Springs know that by bringing out bomb. But the D.Va bomb with a triple is going to go right back onto Hannibal, stop them in their tracks, go back to start, do not collect $200, try again.
Okay, so now both teams basically have the same percentage on the point. Hannibal, because Blue Springs does have control, they're almost at the 50% mark. However, Hannibal has decided to swap up their DPS. They no longer have that Symmetra, and they've also swapped in over for a McCree in favor of their other DPS that they had. One of their tanks, their Ryan, has that Shatter, and they have the Nano. But other than that, they're at a disadvantage ult-wise, so they need to be careful on this engage.
And all that damage from KC going right onto Stinky, not going to allow him to get to the point. Tortellini also eliminated. Shatter is going to come out from the Reinhardt, as well as the Mercy being hacked is going to lead to her demise. Zephyr doing great work, though, on Hannibal, managing to capture the point, and Panda, along with him, managed to pull out just enough there for Hannibal to get back in control.
Unfortunately for Blue Springs, their Lucio was off. Redcon, you're notorious for kind of being a Reddit Lucio, as we've seen in the past. I do not doubt your skills whatsoever, but when there is a team fight happening and you are off by yourself, and they lose you in the beginning of the fight, as a fellow Lucio player, I can tell you your team's chance of keeping that point under control drop below 70%. So try to stay with your team on those fights, my friend.
Oh, I see this Reaper up here, up on the second level, is going to try to do something sneaky. He did, picking off the Moira, putting Blue Springs at a disadvantage. Blaze22 is going to pull out the hack onto the Mercy. No elimination going to come out of it just yet, just trying to peek around the side as the tanks are ready to join, and just before falling off the edge, using the ability right there to go back to safety. Graviton Surge is also going to be used as the fight continues.
Unfortunately, as cool as that Sombra hacked looked, Blue Springs really needed to have just engaged there. They had lost their Moira, and if you don't have your main support, do not try to go into the fight. It's just going to delay you more, and they literally gave up, I think, 10 extra percentage points because of that. As we do hear that EMP go off, I don't think it landed on anybody, but there's a D.Va bomb in place, and it picks up 1! So there's a fight that is alive. There's blood pumping on point. Both teams have the opportunity to actually solidify this. This could be a flop from the 99% point, but I think Hannibal might have it.
It looks like they do have it, and Zephyr just putting that Death Blossom out there just for a celebration at the very end is going to take the first match. The first game, excuse me, in match 1.
Okay, I hope we see Ruins next, because I want to see a Widowmaker. If they have a McCree player who, from what I could see, has some...
Oh, you called it!
Okay, so that McCree has... That McCree has some decent hit scan ability. His tracking was very nice, and Colleen, when we were looking at it, his use of his flashbang wasn't cheesy in the slightest. Thank you for not being a McRight-click and flashbang player. That hurts my heart when I see it. So if you have that skill, pop onto the Widowmaker, even if it's just for 10 seconds. That extra little bit of damage or that extra 1 kill that you could get for your team, especially because you're not using a Lucio, could help your team out a lot, man.
We do see Bandly on Blue Springs bringing out that Widowmaker. The second fight is going to come up here. We do see both sides pulling out the Reinhardt as well as the Zarya, so the Rein-Zarya combination there for both.
We also are seeing this Genji pick from Blades once again. I'm a little concerned, though, because they do not have the Ana to back that up, and he's quite a squishy opponent going into the enemy, as we do see the Widowmaker and Genji from Blue Springs are able to pick up 2 on the side of Hannibal. The point still hasn't even unlocked yet.
And Ghost Rider is going to quickly get res by Mercy before she is eliminated. So use that res to your advantage, because it's not like you're going to get another one anytime soon. As Blue Springs captures the point, is going to keep pushing Hannibal up here. Just going to not really push them up to the choke, but stay near the point. The tank's actually staying a little bit behind, and now the Reinhardt comes up. Blaze is going to be able to get the elimination onto Ana there, putting Hannibal at a bit of a stagger, allowing them to keep running up this percentage, as Banley is finally answered by Stinky, and that's what you were saying with the McCree. He definitely has some skill on that and is now starting to show it on Widow.
So what's happening here is Hannibal did not communicate well. Blue Springs did not communicate well on where they need to be taking that fight, because with the comp, both these teams are running, the utilization of space is key. You need to stay in a small area and make sure you aren't giving sight lines to the enemy team's Widow. And that was a dirty shatter that, oh my goodness, a double pickup and just barely missing that Zarya, but she's high charge, man. Someone's got to take her out.
Well, it was right after he tried to use it there and immediately got eliminated, and then as if just to rub salt in the wound, it was like, no, this is how you do a shatter, and did one of his own.
Yes, but see, right here, Blue Springs is being kind of, I want to say, too hesitant to claim space. Yes, we see that there's a flank happening. They don't know what's happening, but they are giving this Widow free reign over all of that space, so they are not claiming anything as they push forward right now, and they are losing their own Widow. They need to push forward and get rid of this sight line that they are giving to the enemy.
Yeah, they definitely haven't been really claiming anything from their engagements to try to claim space or push up to a choke point or block off sight lines. Coalescence, Rally, and Graviton Surge are being used. Brett is just going to swing into that, eliminating 2 of Hannibal, and now the Zarya picks up 2 of her own with the Coalescence. Just the cherry on top, going to take out all of them. And now Hannibal has to reset as Blue Springs is now on their way past 90, so we're going to get one more engagement out of this. But so Hannibal has to hurry.
Ice-T, that was a beautiful Graviton Surge, but we were looking from the point of view of Bentley there, and that was some fantastic Widowmaker play, and I loved how you actually rotated around the point and didn't just stay in one spot. Thank you.
Well, now we are going to go to the third and final game of this first. Yes, going to the well. I hope we can see. I always like, with the well here, and also in, I think it's Oasis as well. I love seeing the Hammond hole-in-ones. I just do.
I enjoy it myself. I love any map that has the potential for a lot of boop ability, which is why the fact that we have not seen like Nepal as frequently this last year has kind of made me a little sad because Sanctum has so much boop ability, but neither team really looks like they're going with that boop style comp. The Junkrat that they did have on the side of Blue Springs is even swapping over for that for the Reaper pick. So both teams are running near identical comps. The only difference is that Mercy versus the Brig and the McCree versus that Genji. And unfortunately, because of those 2 minor differences in these comps, I say Blue Springs has a slightly more advantageous position here to get this point in the first fight.
Well, Blaze is going to go right up against the other Reaper, have a bit of a duel. None of them going to be eliminated just yet, as they're going to try to go around the right side here through the building. Panda is going to be eliminated by Bandley, but right after Stinky picks up 2 for Hannibal, putting them at a slight advantage. Zephyr is going to go right into the shield here as Panda gets revived by the Mercy. Now Zephyr gets taken out by Blaze, putting Hannibal at a slight disadvantage, as Blue Springs is not going to be able to take the point, though, as both teams are even. Hannibal is the one who claims it first.
Yeah, I was completely wrong, and this Genji's literally on fire.
Yeah, well, like we were saying, the potential for the DPS carry.
Yeah, and they've even got the Ana this time, so I'm assuming we're going to see a Nano Blade, and I'm assuming it's probably going to be play of the game, and there was a cute spray even, so it's going to happen. There's going to be a Genji Blade happening
in that
right
mindset.
Now.
He's in that mindset.
Even
He's
if
already
it's
spraying.
Just with the Mercy, who's going to be boosting him because the Nano's not even ready for him, and he wants to do it now. I'm ready. I'm expecting it.
Was going to dive as the Winston gets right up in his face as the 2 tanks are kind of going different directions on the side of Blue Springs. KC Vet manages to pick off Zephyr and Stinky, so now with both DPSs gone for Hannibal, that might allow Blue Springs to push through. If only they didn't take some eliminations themselves with Ice-T getting taken out. Tortellini is now going to be revived by the Mercy, allowing them to get back up to full strength. The Mercy is also going to pop the Valkyrie, going to give them that much more healing and control over this point.
I mean, if you haven't lost percentage and you have the respawns on your side, using those ultimates is not a bad thing. It comes down to communications, and since we all know that these are actual teams with each other, there's a chance that was coordinated, so good on them.
And Nano Boost is going to be used by Hannibal, as well as the Shatter, as Zephyr just goes right into the members of Blue Springs, picking up 2. Going to be stopped right there. That charge is now going to try to swing into him as Retcon isn't able to get away. Is going to be taken out by Panda, as Zephyr doing a great job as the second DPS on Hannibal. Both of him and Stinky doing great jobs picking up those eliminations, pushing Hannibal past 85% back into 1-fight territory for this game.
Looking at the ultimates on the side of Blue Springs, if they do this right, they got 1. The DPS is important in the rally. Follow up. Call the targets, people. Call the targets. The Mercy is gone. All right, they're up 2. They have the opportunity to take this point, but now this comes down to who messes up. They are in it for blood. There's people on point. We have overtime. Let's Go Blue Springs!
Oh boy, that was very clutch there. What Hannibal might be kicking themselves for, though, is that Ghost Rider was just a little bit too heavy of a finger on that ultimate, using the Graviton Surge when the team was about 3 down. So unfortunately, a waste of the ultimate there is going to put them at the disadvantage, while Blue Springs still has 2 to their name. You have the Deadeye, which maybe not for eliminations, but for some zoning. We do see it used there. So McCree is not going to quite use it yet, just going to try to get some picks there as Hannibal goes on to the point now. Genji comes trying with the blade, is going to be taken out with him and the Echo. That's going to stop them right there. Still not using that ultimate. Coalescence also available from Ice-T. The res coming on to Tortellini is going to put Hannibal back at their strength, but now it's going to be taken out again by KC Vet, which I got to say, in terms of an off-tank, KC Vet has been doing really good on both the Zarya and the D.Va.
Oh, for sure. I mean, off-tank, I'm going to give it to you there, too. We all know I used to be an off-tank player, so I got to give some love. However, that McCree, that Genji stun saved your mercy, dude. Good job. That was, beautiful.
It's some clean play right there, like you were saying. Stinky is going to be res, so maybe he can do something else getting bailed out there, but these eliminations from KC Vet and Blaze are just coming through, slicing right through Hannibal, and Blue Springs has been really good on their discipline in saving all their ultimates, as they are going to have about almost all 6 actually online. They don't have any ultimate under 80%, and Hannibal is at a bit of a disadvantage now. They do have the Nano Boost as well as Bob and the Shatter, so they're not empty-handed, but Blue Springs is going to have so much to just throw right now as the copy comes out, followed by the Primal Rage, and now the Coalescence and Graviton Surge is going to be used. Copy is negated, and look at that with KC Vet and Banley just going right through Hannibal. Those ultimates being put to good use. A celebratory jump into the hole in the middle, and Blue Springs, from the jaws of defeat, managed to pull out the victory.
That Graviton Surge at the end with the Echo using the beam and the sticky bombs was so satisfying to watch. I wish I had the game audio a little bit louder in my ears, because it's a satisfying combination of sound effects.
Oh yeah, it's definitely those ultimate sound effects that help give you clues as to what's going on. So you are watching Blue Springs versus Hannibal in this Missouri High School Esports Association Overwatch match. I'm your host Jem, joined by Nerdy, and another thing that I wanted to say is that another kind of trend in the collegiate level that we're kind of seeing that can be magnified in this high school level is kind of the different amount of comps that we've seen. You know, Boise State, in terms of how they've been performing in their tournaments, is, even though, definitely kind of the strongest comps are emerging in the meta, you still see them pull out those comps and heroes that they are very comfortable in playing, even if it isn't kind of the top strategy. And you do see that also in some of these high school matches. If you've got that DPS that you're just really good and you're managing to pick up eliminations here and there, that is something that has been coming out.
Well, I mean, okay, so this by no means is meant to sound negative in any way, but if you remember the first kind of beginnings, the second year at Boise State Overwatch, we kind of relied on the same strategy of we're just going to facilitate our DPS, so to speak, because we did not have the skill developed quite yet to work as a full team to use the meta to our advantage completely that we do now, that you see kind of across the board at this level of gameplay. So that kind of became the standard. The old ways of the college gaming ways became the new standard for high school, because now it's their turn to go through the growing pains of having to build up a team and put all the work into becoming like a cohesive unit. Yeah,
definitely. Well, if we are to look at the next match, it doesn't look like we'll be paying payload or hybrid in this best of 5, or those are for rounds 2 and 4. So that means, if I am correct and Control was the first one, are we seeing 2 CP in the second round? I mean,
I believe it's actually King of the Hill.
Oh, King of the Hill. Okay.
Yes. So they're going to battle it out.
So that's a relief for you, at least.
Yes, it is. And this is going to be an unfortunate... I have a hunch that we might be able to call who's going to win which point based off of the comps that they come out with and how quickly they're able to swap. So I'm going to give it 2 engages before I call it, and then we're going to see how close I can get, because this is a situation where if you don't mirror comps properly or you don't counter comps fast enough, that can be your undoing, and that's important to keep in mind when you're trying to actually, go up in the rankings, so to speak, of collegiate and high school gaming.
Yeah, it can definitely be tempting too. It's like, oh, I finally built up my ultimate, but you need to choose the comp that's going to win the fight. And actually, we are going to play 2 CP, it looks like. I'm sorry. But in fitting with the weather and the general mood, going on to Volskaya, so definitely getting a little bit more of an atmosphere as the temperatures get a lot colder where we are.
Oh, for sure. I woke up to that rain this morning, and I was just like, not today. This is not what I needed.
Yeah. I was with a group of people, and we walked out, and it was snowing the other day, and they said, just when you thought 2020 was over, we forgot there's the snowy months. So it can definitely get pretty cold here. But the competition is heating up as we have Blue Springs versus Hannibal in this Missouri High School Esports Association match going on to Volskaya Industries and talking about cold snowball and how snowbally this map can get.
Oh, gosh darn it. Okay, never mind. We're not going to get as much fun out of this one because they're kind of going more meta, which I don't blame them. If you don't want to get snowballed or you want to snowball, you have to play the meta on Volskaya Industries, and same with like Horizon Lunar Colony and Anubis. Oh, as I'm speaking, we see the Widowmaker come out on the side of Hannibal, and they are on attack, so that may be a quick sneaky Widowmaker pick and then a swap. I don't know. We'll have to see.
We will have to see. We also see Soldier being brought out by Blue Springs. Soldier definitely seen more of a rise in the meta. Just had his whole gun mechanic kind of changed around with recoil in a balance patch. And now Blue Springs is going to go. Hannibal actually is going to be the one who tries to go up. I just assume, Hannibal is not on defense. I assume seeing that Widow and Junkrat that they were on defense, but no, they're going to try to push through this point here. Zinky is going to take up his first, taking out the Soldier, and Bandly on Blue Springs is going to be able to take out the opposing Junkrat, and with Brett and KCVET getting 2 of their own, it is back and forth with Hannibal finding themselves at his disadvantage, not going to be able to get away there. An unfortunate stagger put on Hannibal.
KCVET is already...
He's trying to get away.
Oh, no.
Oh.
KCVET is already very high charge. Oh, wow. Finish the job. I guess not. Okay.
Heal me.
Oh, that's always I'm pretty sure your anxiety is so high right now, Widowmaker.
Yeah, that was... I don't know if you could have gotten any closer there. He was prepared himself to be taken off. He was already waving, waiting for them, but they didn't come around the corner. So he's going to survive, ready for this next push. Panda taking a bit of damage down to health, is going to use the Shatter onto Blue Springs, as well as the Riptire, which is going to take out 2. Infrared Sights also used, giving Hannibal more information that they need to get onto this point. Looks like they're going to be able to take it as one member of Blue Springs, the Brig, was still on there, is now going to be taken down as they get past the second tick, almost assuredly going on to point 2.
Okay, so that engage, I'm going to give high props to both DPS and the Reinhardt, specifically to the Widowmaker for putting such high pressure on the front line on the side of Blue Springs that it took all of the attention away from Panda to do that sneaky Shatter from around and behind the enemy team. That is how they won that fight, with that beautiful pinch play right there. That was gorgeous, and I hope they do that later in the game too.
Blue Springs definitely loaded up on ultimates there. Graviton Surge almost online for them, and 4 of their own as Hannibal is now going to try to push through. Both Reinhardts getting in each other's face. The Shatter is going to go onto the Reinhardt. He's going to take him out, charge into another, and Zephyr is going to get back at the other Junkrat in his death by using those mines. Still, Blue Springs at the advantage here, slicing into the other Reinhardt again, allowing them to hold the point once more as Hannibal gets the Valkyrie, is going to use that. Blue Springs still only having to use 1 ultimate there to hold for that engagement.
Unfortunately for Hannibal, I don't feel like that Valkyrie was a smart, advantageous move. It would have been better off to hang on to it and either int and reset faster, or just run away and pray that you didn't die, because that's a very powerful move, as we do see Bentley going down to Zephyr with that Mercy boost on those Junkrat mines, being a little extra deadly. Going in now, the Baptiste is popping window. We hear the Reinhardts going at it as Ash is trying to take out Baptiste, but Upholstery is going to go down. This Bap is a little bit deadly.
Yeah, this BAP definitely able to stop the flank from coming through onto him. KCVET still doing a great job as the Zarya off-tank, taking out Ghost Rider. He's going to have Graviton Surge available to him yet again.
Don't use it, don't use it, don't use it. Please don't use it.
Is still not using it, and this is, I like what I'm seeing from Blue Springs here. Their discipline on the ultimates has been so good, and a lot better than Hannibal's, especially since I think we've seen both times multiple members of Hannibal sometimes just using those panic ultimates a little bit too much.
Yeah, Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. When they actually managed to take that point 1, they had no ultimates going into the next fight. So what they honestly should have done was force an extended engage to get as many ultimates from the enemy as they possibly could have, whereas instead they kind of just ran in, popped a couple ults, and let the enemy charge their own because they were like, you're not taking it right now.
Well, I hear a Riptire coming through for Banley is going to be able to take out the Reinhardt, and Zephyr is trying to get some sort of side view here, but as he does, his teammates continue to go down as Stinky is eliminated by Noodles. Blue Springs still holding on to the point. Immortality Field also going up. Zephyr finally eliminated by Blaze. And yet again, now Hannibal has gradually managed to save up those ultimates, and they do have some potential combos here with that Riptire online, the Graviton Surge, and also the Shatter as well. So this next one could prove what they need to take it.
Okay, we only got a Zephyr. I'm all down for the J Silly rotations. You just got to do them faster, and don't leave your team hanging without extra damage for long periods of time, because they need that help from you, my friends.
Zephyr still going front and center, looking for an opportunity to use this Shatter. It's available to him. The Shatter is going to come out with the Surge, and here we go. The Blue Springs is just going to tear right into Hannibal, and they have managed to hold it yet again, managing to burn out 2 ultimates from Hannibal.
All right, now we are in the 2-minute territory. This means we have roughly 2 to 3 fights, depending on how long they take, because they're about 45 seconds apiece here. If they can get them quickly, they'll see 3 fights, and for the side of Hannibal on attack right now, they need all 3 in order to win. If Blue Springs can manage to keep it to 2, the odds of them actually being able to sustain and not give up a single percentage is higher for them. So it's kind of going to be a little bit rough for both teams right now. This is where the rubber meets the road. You either stop them now, or it's going to be difficult.
Well, Blue Springs still trying to stop Hannibal, is going to be using Baptista's window, and he has used that to great effect thus far, so that's something you got to keep in your mind as the Genji Blade also comes out. Still nothing quite yet, and there it's going to go right onto the Mercy. Managed going to pick up 1 for Hannibal, and having that kind of healing in the res gone is certainly nothing to scoff at, as he goes right in toward the Ana as well, and with Reinhardt also gone, that's going to have to be another reset for Hannibal, taking them down to 1 minute.
So as soon as their Mercy died and their Ana was caught out, there should have been a call in the comms for everybody to instantaneously stop trying to hide, stop trying to do damage. You need to get them to kill you. That Ana delayed them by a couple extra seconds by healing herself up more, giving the enemy team more charge. You got to start thinking about these things, because that's how you win these last-minute fights. But as we're looking at this right now, Blue Springs has Rally on their side as well as an attack visor almost ready to go. However, Hannibal has more ults, and if they pop them sooner and more advantageously, they have the opportunity to win, but it is a 6v6 fight, so it could go either way.
I was going to think they weren't going to be able to use that Nano Blade, but that res is going to come through. As it comes out along with the Riptire, they are just going to go right into Blue Springs. 1, 2, and 3, followed up by 4, with KC Vet being eliminated. Tactical Visor coming out in a last-ditch effort, but it is not going to be enough as Hannibal manages to take the point with all those ultimates.
Okay, so that was a gorgeous take, but it was not stall at all. They took everybody out at the same time, and when you do that with that much time on the clock, it allows for staggers onto point with the Mei swap as well. That was very smart of the side of Hannibal, so it does give them time to get more off the clock. They're in overtime. It is now spin it to win it comp. They just need a little bit of stabilization here, but you know, this Genji's just not letting it happen. He's dominating right now, definitely vibing out, showing his prowess. I'm pretty sure he's either Diamond or Masters on Genji.
He just gets 1 more there. Well, he's certainly proud of it because we've seen him spray a multiple amount of times, so he's definitely in the zone when he's on Genji. Hannibal still managing to take the point, but with 0 seconds left on the clock, and you really can't discount how good a job Blue Springs did, especially when I think they had over 4 minutes they had to hold Hannibal on that second point. Yeah,
that was a great attack on their part from Hannibal, but they were a little sloppy with their ultimates, as you pointed out, because Blue Springs was kind of, they could have been more hesitant with their cues, or they actually, you know, had them rotating, because with how clean and how often there was ultimates that were viable coming online from the side of Blue Springs, I think that was genuinely planned, and if they've been working on it since last week, since we last watched them, there's some definite improvement that we've seen.
Yeah, they usually used only about 1 ultimate for a lot of the engages in which they were able to hold Hannibal, and Hannibal, it was the same story for both points. They usually needed 3 or about 4 ultimates to use at the same time to finally finally take the point. So Blue Springs definitely getting a lot more mileage out of it, as both sides are still going to stick onto the Ryan Zarya composition. Stinky also still staying on that Genji, which he's really comfortable with. But we also see the Pharah being brought out. Not a Mercy to pocket her, but still a little bit of a change-up.
So I would be concerned playing that far if I had not seen Hannibal's kind of more comfort comp picks. Yes, we've seen that Widowmaker, but not during this whole map sequence thus far. And they don't have hit scan. Oh, he swapped anyway. I would have personally stuck with the Pharah. I could be crazy though.
Well, we will see how crazy, who's the crazy one here, as Blue Springs going to finally switch onto that Reaper, which has been a really good hero. We have seen some definite backline Death Blossoms, which have just been brutal, so maybe we'll see another one. But Panda is going to push right into this choke and charge through 2 members of Blue Springs, also taking out the Immortality field as well, leaving Blue Springs down 2, heading back and having to reset. And this Genji might be trying to get some sort of a pick there, trying to stagger them onto this Pharah.
Pharah needs to swap. If you're going down to a Genji, you need to swap. That was too close for comfort, but unfortunately, Stinky is going to go down.
Yeah, it does put on a valuable stagger onto Blue Springs, which might be what Hannibal needed, especially since he has been one of those DPSs that has been getting huge mileage for Hannibal. And now the Mercy is going to be taken out, as well as the Reinhardt. Blue Springs is now going to continue to push through, taking out the Zarya, despite one of them getting hit by the Sleep Dart. The Pharah is going to get some mileage, getting rid of the remaining members on the point, taking point 1 in a faster time, I believe, than Hannibal did. They're going to have about 4 to 5 minutes to take this second point.
And if they manage to take said second point with time on the clock, because they got Hannibal down to no time remaining, we will go into an overtime sequence that basically they just got to get 33% on that first point, and they will take Volskaya Industries. So Hannibal needs to hang on to this point if they do not want Blue Springs to win.
Well, we will see how Hannibal does in terms of defense. You see the Junkrat going around the side there, having that Riptire available to him. We also see the window available for Baptiste and the Deadeye. And here comes the Riptire trying to get behind them, but isn't going to be able to pick up anyone with it. They were aware of that. Now he's going to go around. The Deadeye is actually going to be able to pick up one, but it's really just kind of a, hey, I was able to get the Deadeye, but maybe they managed to turn it around as Banley and Noodles are going to pick up 2, and Casey Vet getting rid of Ghost Rider. That was an insane turnaround. Hannibal was up there, but Blue Springs manages to be able to go on their way to taking the point. I cannot believe it.
And we just see Casey Vet, of course, showing some great control over hitting that Q. Once again, there wasn't a lot of stagger on those Qs, so you need to, well, those depths, so they needed to make sure they had ultimates ready to go to block people. They're trying to use the spin it to win it comp. It ain't working out against a full charge. Nano boosted Zarya right now on this point. That was beautiful. There is over 4 minutes left on the clock for Blue Springs, and all they have to do is get a single tick, and they will take Volskaya Industries.
Just 1 tick. That was insane, because it looked to me like they were down 2 or 3, and then it just came in a flurry. So they definitely have staying power.
I'm not as... I think Casey Vet and Bread on the side of Blue Springs are kind of trying to make you and I eat our words, because we definitely have been hyping up their DPS a lot. They might have heard it last week because we mentioned it.
Well, you can relate. You know, you're on Diva, and there are so many plays of the game that are stolen.
Yeah, I totally, like, 100%. I get it. You guys keep doing it because personally, I want to hype y'all up too. I'm not trying to put you down. It's just... The big flashy ultimates tend to come from the DPS. It's nothing against you guys. Casey Vet, you're doing a phenomenal job. Your Zarya is a beast. Just keep doing what you're doing. And Bread, keep getting that bread, man.
Yeah.
Panda, you keep pulling off those sneaky shatters and getting into the enemy's hand. And Ghost, you keep doing those insane flanks. I don't understand how you've lived through a couple of those.
Yeah, the tanks are definitely making a name for themselves here as the clock continues to tick down. 15 seconds until Blue Springs is going to have over 4 minutes to just get 1 tick on that point. We do see McCree being used by Blaze. We have seen at least 1 elimination by the Deadeye, which that is an improvement from what we normally saw. Although I will say, apparently earlier in the week on the collegiate level, the Deadeye has actually been getting a lot of eliminations, much to Fish's chagrin.
Yeah,
but it's a little bit more par for the course here on the high school level.
For real, Narbles is a special case when it comes to playing McCree. That's not your average everyday McCree player.
Well, Blue Springs is going to go around the side here, is going to try to flank them from the left.
That was a beautiful rotation. Barely anyone is taking damage. They're seeing these the junk bombs come in. Oh, poor Bentley. That's unfortunate. You got to look out for those spikes on the ground. They're a little hard to see, and as a tracer, that can kind of hurt. As we do see both DPS on the side of Blue Springs going down to that Ash. So Hannibal is going to sustain for one extra fight, and it's going to be a few more seconds before we'll get this full engage coming out from Blue Springs again.
It was a nice try, but sometimes it's just all those Junkrat bombs just going into a tiny room like that can just catch you.
Yep, and we do see Blaze is like, I'm not feeling the tracer now. I'm going back to Genji. So is Blaze gonna pop off on Genji? He better, because when you make that swap like that, you're telling the world that you're better at this hero.
Well, that was a nice dynamite by Stinky as they're going to try to rotate around again toward the left. Stinky being boosted by the Mercy, and there he goes. He's spraying again. He knows that he wants to start popping off.
The spray, it's so dirty. The boosted Ash, though, is insane as Blaze goes down. I am so sorry. There's just so much damage. You hear the ticking from the fire that... Oh, this is dirty. This is painful. The Mercy is taking a catnap right now. Hopefully you don't need that little bit of extra damage, but it looks like you kind of need it. As we do see that blue and yellow beam going back onto Ash right now.
Doodle's also using the ultimate there, which he has been really good on, and he is going to take out Ghost Rider, but Stinky is going to eliminate him, and now the Sleep Dart is going to go right onto Stinky. And that's going to be just enough for Blue Springs to be able to get one tick on the first point, despite some great gameplay that we have seen by Hannibal. Well, you can see right here the 12 days of respawn with 253 respawn change and 18 selected program runners. You can submit your program video to win at that URL, which has a lot of alternating numbers and letters. So at that point, I'm not going to try to efuse.gg /o/12 days of respawn.
Yeah, you did it. Good job.
Okay,
I can barely read it, and I'm like 4 feet away from my screen.
Look, one slash is enough to take already. 2 slashes, and your brain starts to turn off in reading the URL.
Exactly.
You're
yeah.
like, I'm just going to copy that right there. But definitely a lot of great programs that you can get involved in. And this is going to be a best of 5. So now Blue Springs managing to win that one as well is going to take them to 2-0, as we are going to go on into the third match, which, if I remember from the graphic I saw earlier, is going to be Payload.
Okay, so Junkertown is an option. Junkertown
I mean,
is an option.
We did see that amazing shatter last time on Junkertown onto the point at the last minute, so that map has definitely given us some fun moments.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'm trying, actually, on the top of my head, I'm blanking on the other just strict Payload maps for some reason.
Havana.
Havana and then Paris.
And Route 66.
I honestly would and Dorado. I personally would love to see Paris because of the bridges, so it's kind of another Boop City map, and also lots of long lines and alley access for Widowmakers and McCrees to pop off a little bit, and it definitely forces players to use those, the natural cover that's available a lot more than some other maps force you to use, and they're especially Paris, well, not Paris, Rialto. I've been saying it wrong the entire time. Forces kind of the ability to change comps per point that you take as the map progresses. So that's why I really enjoy that map, and I really enjoy Junkertown. So I'm rooting for one of those two.
Definitely a lot of options to choose. We're just going to have to wait and see. And just as a recap, as you see there, we did see the first win on Ilios by Blue Springs, following it into Volskaya Industries, giving them 2-0. So just one more, and they managed to take it. If not, then we move on to Hybrid and then Control one last time in the 5th match, if it goes to that. And Havana is going to be the one that we choose.
Alrighty. Okay, so... what strategy might we see coming out from the defensive team here? Is it going to be Bastion right on the payload, right to the right side of the payload? You're going to chill out all the way at the corner at the first turn?
I always hope it's Bastion just because of almost the cheeky nature of it. There are just so many plays, whether you're just doing a complete cheesy strat like you would do maybe on Hollywood or something like that, or it's the pirate ship, or even the Statue of Liberty. It's just Bastion has such a reputation that I do like to see it pulled off when it can be used.
Well, when it comes to these close hold Bastion comps, especially here in Havana that we pulled out, especially from Boise State before, if you play it right, you can let that payload move only like 5 meters.
And you are watching the Missouri High School Esports Association Blue Springs versus Hannibal in this Overwatch match, best of 5, as we move on to the third. And Blue Springs still going to be in the blue, Hannibal in the orange, as we are seeing the Hog coming out.
I'm sorry. I know that we just got the swap. The schools have swapped sides. That is Blue Springs on the right because Retcon and KC Vet are from Blue Springs.
Okay,
so
yes.
the colors haven't swapped yet. However, there was a swap of players on the side of Blue Springs. Their off-tank, the Roadhog player, B-Farts, has come in for bread, and that is why I was giggling, because as soon as I look to see the Roadhog, I see B-Farts as the name.
It definitely is a very striking combination there. Or you could go more classy and go beef arts. You know what I mean? Like it's art of steak and stuff like that.
I mean, if you're such a connoisseur and such a griller that it's now an art form for you, go for it. As we do see, Stinky is able to take out Bentley, so the Battle of the Widows is already concluded. Beefart's going down as well to Stinky right now, and Ghost is just trying to stay alive. Wait. Ghost was on tank previously. Zephyr swapped over to Zarya. We've got Ghost on Reaper and Panda on the Sigma over here on the side of Hannibal. So I guess all the time we've been hyping up some of the other players. They're like, okay, well, now we got to show you what we can do on DPS.
Well, KC Vet still on tank is just going to be going on to Sigma, so he's switching to main tank instead of off tank. So they've managed to push it slightly up the hill here. Ghost Rider trying to get some of that damage onto Blue Springs is just going to duck right back here as Panda gets hit with the orb. Infrared sights also used as 2 eliminations come through. Stinky getting rid of Bandly and Beefart's getting rid of Ghost Rider as well. And Stinky on this Widowmaker is just going right into Blue Springs, going to manage to take out 2 of them. Redcon answers that back by taking out the Zarya. Is going to try to get... Oh, that was sick.
Oh, so one of the important things to keep in mind about the Widowmaker, when you activate infrared sights, it's 30 seconds. You need to start that timer in your head if you are on the enemy team from the Widow. The other thing is that if that Widow does not die, that timer keeps going until the 30 seconds are up. So that Widow was not dead. You should have known that she knew where you were at.
Blue Springs having 2 ultimates to their name is going to be able to have the Transcendence as well as the Nano Boost. Beefart's just going to do a good old-fashioned punch right into Ghost Rider, putting them at the advantage as the Gravitic Flux is going to be used. Slam them right down into the ground. Bandly follows that up by getting rid of Stinky. Tortellini is also going to bite the dust. Nano Boost also coming out from Blue Springs. I don't know if that was the best boost, though. They had pretty much already won that fight.
I mean, it's not horrible to hit that Q2 early. Ana did recently have some changes made that might make it a little bit easier for Retcon to get that ultimate charge faster, but we'll have to wait and see. We also, I will point out that Blue Springs making that swap over to the Sombra, the double dive onto Widow definitely shut down Stinky a lot because they were not prepared for that amount of pressure, so the remainder of damage on point was just not enough to take care of the tanks. As we do see Beefarts just getting those dirty hooks in on Panda right now, and the payload making it to .1.
And I don't know if you remember this, Nerdy, but this is new territory that we are seeing now in Havana, because the last time we saw this match on the high school level, neither team made it to .1, so new territory now as we're moving into the distillery.
Oh, man. I feel like, okay, it is new territory, but that was so backhanded at the high school teams a little bit. Like, that was mean.
I didn't mean for it to be. I'm trying to do it like an exciting thing, so thanks for interpreting that in the worst way humanly possible.
I don't know. From a player perspective, I was like, man, that caster just called us out for not even getting a checkpoint last time.
Well, that doesn't... No, it speaks to the great defense of both teams, okay?
The skill increase.
The skill, yes. Exactly. It's like in pro football, you know what I mean? The scores, you know what I mean? The scores are lower because the defense is higher.
Exactly.
That's just how it works out. Well, while we have been talking up a storm, Blue Springs has managed to save up a storm of ultimates as the Gravitic Flux and Gravitron Surge, as well as the Genji Blade Transcendence. They're just going to hit Q at the same time, and that hook is going to get rid of Ghost Rider, followed by the Blade going right onto the Ana as well. Stinky answering that by taking out Redcon, but Bandly making up for that by taking out Zephyr. Both teams are just about even. Blue Springs down 1 as Hannibal manages to maintain the upper hand. Bandly now taking out Tortellini. That's going to be the Mercy gone for Hannibal. Panda followed up with that, being followed up there. Overall, a lot of Qs pressed, a lot of ultimates used, but Blue Springs managing to continue on their way.
That was a lot of Qs, and there was a lot of staggers, and they pushed up to the doorway, and that was not a good idea because they're going to create more staggers. I do not know if Hannibal's going to be able to touch the point because of that Roadhog. Oh, plus the hook on the Ghost, so that's an extra 10 seconds without both DPS. The Mercy Res is going to be used just in time for B-Farts to go down. Of course, KC Red's also going to pick up the Zarya. We see that Death Blossom get popped. The Graphitic Flux is on the payload, but Reinhardt's just barely surviving as that anti goes out on Sigma, and I do believe that that is going to be the point.
That is going to be checkpoint number 2, but whether you're on high school or collegiate, now it moves on to point 3, which on Havana is a rather tough one to take.
Yes, and if you look at the side of Hannibal, there was a swap that occurred in preparation for these new sightlines out here because this is a wide open area. They had the Hanzo for a hot moment, and I was really hoping they'd stick with it because I love that dragon combo. However, they've swapped over to the Widowmaker, so now it is going to be a game of monopolizing space for the side of Hannibal because of the lack of natural cover that exists here.
And
for the side
EMP.
of Blue Springs with that EMP.
Yep.
Triple.
You could see it coming through there. The EMP getting rid of both of those tanks, just allowing the Genji Blade to go right through them. You could all see that playing out there. We all knew the strategy. It was just a matter of time waiting before it hits us. They are going to go over the bridge here, almost toward the castle. Hannibal is going to be back at full strength. Is going to have the Valkyrie and the Transcendence available to Blue Springs. That nano boost could prove interesting depending on who Hannibal wants to use it on.
I'm going to take a bet and say it's going to be used on B-Farts.
I could say that. No, I'm saying on the side of Hannibal. B-Farts is on Blue Springs.
My apologies. It's probably going to go onto the Reinhardt or the Echo then. Let's be real.
Well, we will see as Stinky is rezzed after Hannibal takes a lot of, actually manages to get a lot of eliminations onto Blue Springs, taking out Blaze 22 and KC Vet as Noodles follows with Zephyr taking him out. So now they are stuck right before the gate of the castle. Blue Springs still manages to have 3 ultimates, but so does Hannibal. Now the Graviton Surge coming online for Panda. So they have some great setup here, but they don't necessarily have a lot of damage to follow through. I mean, Stinky can get a couple of picks there, but the main damage is going to be coming from that Echo.
It is, but it's not too bad to only have one major damage dealer. It's only bad if your whole team can't focus the same targets when you have a lack of damage from your teammates.
Well, there goes the Shatter from Zephyr, and Stinky is going to manage to get the first pick. And the Graviton Surge is going to go on to Hannibal from Blue Springs. Transcendence also being used. Tortellini rezzing Zephyr, and now Blaze 22 is just going to, with the Sombra, take out 2, taking out the Widow and the Ana, and Panda manages to try to hook, but it's not going to be able to survive, and now B-Fart's just going right in to Hannibal here. Stinky is using the infrared sights here, and excuse me, it was Blue Springs that managed to do it. The copy is going to go onto the Roadhog, trying to use the whole hog, gets hit with the Sleep Dart. It's going to hook the other hog there, managing to get low on health. Nano Boost also being used, as well as the whole hogs and Graphitic Flux. It is pure chaos as KC Vet and B-Farts manages to get through, and that might be enough, but Stinky and Ghost Rider try to answer back. Ghost Rider eliminated. KC Vet also goes down, with Noodles and Banley picking up the slack, and after a very intense fight, Blue Springs going all 3 checkpoints. So quite a turnaround now, going all 3. Hannibal's going to have their work cut out for them now.
I'm not going to lie, Noodles, the Zenyatta on the side of Blue Springs, did a phenomenal job that round controlling the use of his Transcendence. There were multiple times where I actually was concerned that it wasn't going to keep the team alive because there was an Ana sitting on the side of Hannibal, but thankfully that Ana did not utilize the anti-nade because that is really the only thing you can do to counter a Zenyatta ultimate.
And now Hannibal is going to have it in the back of their mind. Okay, not only do you have to take all 3 points in Havana, not an easy task, but you have to do it to be able to stay in the game, because if Blue Springs manages to hold them here, they will be able to take the overall match. And we do see Hannibal is making a couple of switches on here, with Winston coming out instead.
Ooh, it's double bubble. That's an older comp. I want to say it's about 2, maybe 3 metas ago, so to speak, with the way that Blizzard's been rolling out their rotations with hero nerfs and buffs. Rest in peace, Moira, again. Anyway, we've seen it before. We've seen it from Boise State. It is a high aggression, high speed comp. It heavily relies on communication though, and the use of the natural cover, which there is a severe lack thereof when you are a dive comp on this point. There is just straight sight lines all the way down the middle, and we do see Bentley once again for Blue Springs picking up that Widow, so Hannibal needs to be extra careful on these engages to make sure they're not insta-killed from Widowmaker.
And the Widowmaker already staring down Hannibal, trying to take a few shots here or there. The Winston's going to go out onto the second floor, try to force her down to ground level as they haven't been able to push the payload thus far. Is going to run back to it, starting to get it, because Bandley is managing to stay in the back of their minds, even though they're all turning around to focus on him, still managing to survive Bandley in a variety of situations, managing to find a way to keep alive in the most slippery of situations. Panda was eliminated there, and now Bandley is finally going to bite the dust for Blue Springs, allowing Hannibal to push around the corner. You see Zephyr there are going to put a lot of damage onto this Roadhog. Accretion coming out from the Sigma as they continue. They're about halfway to checkpoint 1. Beefarts manages to punch Stinky right in the face. Zephyr takes out Redcon. Beefarts continuing to keep the advantage for Blue Springs, keeping them just one above Hannibal. Panda now eliminated by Noodles, who has been doing a great job on the Zenyatta. KC Vet gets the elimination onto Zephyr, and that's just going to be another stagger as they are still on the point and staggering themselves as Ghost Rider and Bane now eliminated.
Gotta stop the stagger, guys. Just gotta accept it. Take the damage to the face and just die faster. I know it sucks, but the staggers are way worse.
And it sometimes just goes against, you know, on a base level, you're like, no, I don't want to go right into their face. I want to keep surviving. But no, sometimes you have to know when to try, when you need to lose those fights so that you're able to reset faster.
Yes, very true. I am guilty of myself of, I've only died 3 times this game. I did good. But your team still lost.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to see that low number in the stats, but that's, you know what's a better number in the stats? Your W's.
Exactly. And actually, I didn't notice this, but Bentley swapped over to that Pharah despite knowing Stinky is still on that Widowmaker, and Bentley is unfortunately going to go down to that Widow.
Learns his lesson pretty fast.
Yeah, that's the type of engage that goes one of 2 ways, and it did not go in favor of Bentley. So he's swapping over to that Genji, which he's obviously shown prowess on, so there's a chance to go toe-to-toe as we see the Graphitic Flux plus the EMP go out. Zephyr's going to be able to take down that Sombra. There's just not enough follow-up. Zephyr also kills himself in that process. That's unfortunate. So nothing really to say on that EMP blast because there just wasn't a follow-up.
I mean, it was they managed to get 5, which is nice, but yeah, no follow-up. Still allows Blue Springs, though, to hold the point here. It still has Transcendence and the whole hog available to them.
Oh, Panda, that must have hurt. I'm so sorry. One of the things that we are noticing, it's a trend even in the collegiate scene right now, is this re-emergence of the Sombra across the board. It seemed like it took a long time for everyone to get the idea that she was useful, and now she's not so useful anymore, and people are behind the ball on that. Oh well, we do see Noodles once again popping off on this Zenyatta, though. Those Discords are doing work. We may actually see this get full held right here.
Hannibal very close to getting to the first checkpoint. Noodles eliminated by Stinky. So answering back that Widowmaker play for a little bit of their own, managing to get to the first point. Bentley is still going to try to get a quick pick off here. Redcon and KC Vet is going to find themselves taken out. So Blue Springs going to have to go for a reset here as we move on with 3 minutes left to get through the distillery.
Okay, so remember how I said earlier that this map kind of forces you to change up your comp a little bit?
I do remember that.
It does that unless you have a front line that's just going to constantly stay right by the doors, and there's people that just decide to not use natural cover and are getting staggered hardcore.
I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're a beginner or advanced. If you're not using cover and just staying out in the open, it's going to be easier for the other team to eliminate.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt, but by not forcing an engage, so to speak, right here, and giving that Widowmaker so much free range, it actually is allowing them to force this comp into this area where it shouldn't be nearly as viable, but it's a comp that's working well for them.
And that EMP going on to 5 members of Hannibal, allowing a few eliminations to come through there. Panda and Stinky being taken out. Now Zephyr taken out by KC Vet, and I don't know if we'll see another stagger come through. Doesn't look like. Looks like the other ones managed to run back in time, but the Tesh's time is ticking away as they've already burned a third of the time that they had off of the clock, now under 2 minutes. 2 ultimates left. They have the Shatter and the Copy.
And the grab almost online, so if you copy the right person, it could work out in your favor. And they get the Zenyatta out of the way. That is a huge thing. Make sure you get at least a group. It doesn't matter if it's not the whole team in the grab. Just get 2 people, 1 person. Just use it. Don't be hesitant. You need to win this fight. You need to get that payload as far as you can. As the Reinhardt is coming in and getting hacked, we see Casey Vet still alive, using that Graphitic Flux on the supports of Hannibal, and I don't know if they will live through it. That Ana is barely hanging on. The Mercy is praying for her life right now. The whole hog is coming out from B-Farts. The supports are both down for Hannibal, and that is another reset.
And now another elimination coming through there. KC Vet getting rid of Ghost Rider as Blaze22 is going to be taken down by Stinky, so managing to keep a little bit of elimination on the side of Hannibal. But now they've only got 1 minute left. Now, they didn't use really a lot of ultimates there, so they're now going to have the Graviton Surge available to them. But that's a great pick off by Banley, being able to pick off the Reinhardt, not having to worry now about that Shatter. And again, he takes off Ghost Rider too. And again, this Widow! I am telling you, that is going to be huge, and with only 30 seconds left, those 3 picks could decide the whole match.
This Zarya needs to disengage now, otherwise they're going to lose their last opportunity for an engage right now, so they need to be careful. As we do see the Ana go down, Zarya is going, Panda is getting taken out by B-Farts, Reaper's trying to stay alive. Oh, Stinky is going to take out Bentley, so that's going to clear up those airways a little bit, so now if Blue Springs can kind of just pull themselves up by the bridges and stabilize, play careful as this Graviton Surge gets popped and the Zarya is pulled through by this Roadhog. The Transcendence and EMP Blaster both coming out. The Hammond has been pulled out as well, and that's a little bit hard to play into a Sombra, but that's okay. As the fight is continuing into overtime, Stinky picking up the May on Bentley. We see the Nano boost. Reaper is going down to B-Farts. B-Farts also taking out Ana, and Noodles is taking out Mercy. KC Vet getting the Widowmaker.
Well, B-Farts might have been a sub in for this third game, but you might not have known that considering what an amazing job he did on the Hog. Blue Springs High School victorious in this match, getting themselves a 3-0 win. And I gotta say, we started out hyping up the DPS as much as we could, but those off tanks for Blue Springs, they were incredible.
So I'm gonna shine a light away from the DPS this evening and actually really highlight like Noodles' play on that Zenyatta, and as well as the, like you said, KC Vet on that Zarya play constantly. Like the tanks and the supports really came through this evening and demonstrated their skill had they not been rotating their ultimates as much as they were. And we saw a lot less kind of double Q clicks from both supports in situations where it wasn't needed like we were seeing in the previous weeks. So there's just been a lot of improvement across the board. But if I were to say player of the game, it's either KC Vet or Noodle.
I would probably lead toward KC Vet.
I am too, because that Zarya was dirty.
I mean, it wasn't just the Zarya. We also saw a little bit of Diva at the beginning here doing a great job. So off tanks all around KC Vet was on point. But if I did also have to pick out the DPS, I got to say Bandley at that last moment getting 3 picks onto Hannibal with only 30 seconds left on the clock. That was so clutch, and it was just one after the other. So the Widowmakers are doing a lot of great work on this match too.
Yeah, Stinky. I hope I don't run into him on ladder, and yeah, I just hope not.
Well, that is going to do it for the first match. Blue Springs High School taking the victory over Hannibal. But we are going to quickly focus on the player of the game, as we were kind of guessing a lot of different options. So we're going to see if any of our predictions have come true, or if any of you in the chat had any predictions. We are going to see if those come true. Coming through here very quickly, is there anyone else I can think of? Is there any other? I'm trying to think. You know, I gotta say, B-Farts did a really good job, you know, for just being a sub in for the third match. It really was almost like he had been playing with them the entire match.
Yeah, and like it didn't force kind of like a shift in the playstyle of his team, which is great. That actually shows how much time they spent together. But because we only got to see him on one map and one hero, that's why I'm not leaning so much towards B-Farts, as much as I love the name, being player of the game, at least this time around.
Well, we are going to be taking a look back at the highlights, and this might be a player of the game. It might just be plays of the game, but overall some great highlights to look over to as we go back to the first match we saw in Ilios.
And It's player of the game is Stinky.
Yeah, he did a lot of great jobs on the DPS there. On the Genji, he was amazing on the Genji, and he himself knew it, but how much he was spraying everywhere.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. When you can force a hero like that so easily, it definitely shows your prowess and like how comfortable you are on it. I know I kind of always end up with a DPS, so I'm not too upset. But all y'all did great. You've improved drastically since the last time we casted your guys' matches, and I'm excited to see what you bring to the table next week.
We will be looking forward to next week, but in terms of this week, we still have one match to bring to you. It's going to be the second match of the night, which we will get to after a short break. So be sure to join us because we will have 2 more high schools going at it, so please stay tuned.
It's a satisfying combination of sound. Where both tanks aren't going to be able to just jump all over them.
Well, that is not going to be good for Hannibal as the DPS goes on to 3 of them. Stinky still managing to pick up, but the DPS didn't hit Stinky, and he's going to let Blue Springs know that by bringing out Bomb. But the Diva Bomb with a triple is going to go right back onto Hannibal. Stop them in their triple. And the Anna, and Panda manages to try to hook, but is not going to be able to survive. And now Beefarth's just going right in to Hannibal here. Stinky is using the infrared sights here, and excuse me, it was Blue Springs that managed to do it. The copy is going to go onto the Roadhog, trying to use the whole hog, gets hit with the Sleep Dart. It's going to hook the other hog. Going to have the Graviton Surge available to them, but that's a great pick off by Banley, being able to pick off the Reinhardt, not having to worry now about that Shatter. And again, he takes off Ghost Rider too. And again, this Widow, I am telling you, that is going to be huge. And with only 30 seconds left, those 3 picks could decide the whole match.
This Zarya needs to distance. Yvette, of course, showing some great control over hitting that Q. Once again, there wasn't a lot of stagger on those Qs, so you need to, well, those depths, so they needed to make sure they had ultimates ready to go to block people. They're trying to use the spin it to win it comp. It ain't working out against the full charge. Nano boosted Zarya right now on this point. That was beautiful. There is over 4 minutes left on the
Rider followed by the Blade, going right onto the Anna as well. Stinky answering that by taking out Redcon, but Banley making up for that by taking out Zephyr. Both teams are just about even. Blue Springs down 1 as Hannibal manages to maintain the upper hand. Banley now taking out Tortellini. That's going to be the Mercy gone for Hannibal.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here in Idaho, we do things a little differently. First rule, camouflage never goes out of style. Next, always use fry sauce. I mean, why wouldn't you? Hold steady when out-of-state friends think you're from Iowa. We call it pop, not soda. We always put a lift on our pickups. And we always buckle up because we still have a lot we want to do, and I'm guessing you do too.
legendary parts for legendary wins.
Growing up in Idaho, we have certain rules we live by. Hold steady when out-of-state friends think you're from Iowa. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
To tonight's Boise State Esports broadcast in partnership with the Missouri High School Esports Association. It is Overwatch tonight, and we are getting right into the second match of the night. And I am your host, Jacob Jim Mountain Palmer, joined by Madison Nerdy Bird Benj to call all the Overwatch action for you tonight. And Nerdy, I have got to say, the last match that we saw, which was Blue Springs versus Hannibal, we were talking up Blue Springs so well, doing such a great job that they just decided to show us more, as the next match is going to be Blue Springs High School yet again versus one that we haven't seen, and that is Hickman, which their mascot is the Cupies. So that's kind of the graphic that we saw, kind of maybe a play on Cupid, I suppose.
Yeah, it's the actual term is an art thing. It relates to the style of the chubby baby statue, so to speak. So now that you said
a different,
the name,
yeah.
I was like, oh, so that's what that's supposed to be. I thought it was supposed to be like a human version of Casper as a baby. I don't know, because I had honestly never seen it before. That's very interesting. I mean, like, all the high schools in my area were pretty gosh darn boring with their mascots. That's probably one of the most interesting high school mascots I have seen to date.
Yeah, it is great when you get a school that can kind of change up the game on the mascots, so to speak. And Hickman is one that we haven't covered thus far. We have seen Blue Springs in a number of matches, not just this week, but last week. So it's going to be completely interesting to see a new team, see how well they mesh together. You know, with the teams like Blue Springs and Hannibal, we've been able to see them kind of improve with their overall team play and get better. But Hickman, we're going in blind.
We are, and I'm kind of excited to not know anything for once. Like, honestly, it's a little hard being a caster, not being familiar with the teams, but when we go into this expecting kind of, you know, what we've standardized for our viewpoint of what we expect from high schools, it'll be interesting to see if that completely just goes out the window. Because we have kind of only seen, I want to say, Hannibal, Hannibal High School, as well as, oh my goodness, Blue Springs, and one other. So we don't have a lot to go off of yet.
And another thing that's always changed up is the map selection, which is different for every time. As you can see, we did 2 CP last time as the second match, which is not something we normally see on the collegiate level. I know Nerdy would say that is for the better. But overall, a different kind of set of maps, different pool of maps that's usually played. It's all kind of different. It's a lot like, you know, well, Nerdy, you play Magic. It's like different formats. You know what I mean? It's like the same game, but it's a different vibe.
Yes, exactly. It's like if we were to be playing, you know, a standard game of Magic the Gathering, and it's the different maps kind of are the different decks.
Mm-hmm. Well, in terms of maps, excuse me, just having to take a bit of a reset there as we get to the first map of the night, which is going to be Dorado. So starting off on Payload.
All right, so Payload is a rough map to start out on, especially if you're on attack. So whoever is on attack, I apologize in advance. Your first round may not be very fun, because if the other enemy team just, you know, chooses the comp that takes advantage of the high ground really well and you can't counter it, you're going to have a rough time to start. And I'm sorry. That's just how this map goes.
I mean, it's just jumping into the deep end of the pool, I suppose, hitting the ground running, as it is going to be a match of the Wildcats versus the QBs, Blue Springs versus Hickman High School with the Missouri High School Esports Association, showcasing Overwatch tonight with partnership from Boise State Esports. As we get ready to go into this game, we are going to see who has gotten that first push on attack. As we get a quick look at both lineups here. To me, Blue Springs is actually going to be on the right because I recognize the names on the right, KC Vet, Blaze 22. In terms of Hickman, though, we're seeing this double shield comp instead.
So I think Hickman is on defense first. They are going with the double hit scan as well as that Brigida pick, but Retcon is on Brigida as well. We've got kind of a mirror match when it comes to the supports and the tanks here, so to speak. Blue Springs doesn't have nearly as much movement as Hickman is going to have, but because they are on the defensive side, planting themselves and ensuring that the payload doesn't go past them is more advantageous for them. So we'll see how that plays out.
And it's actually Blue Springs on attack here as Blaze 22 gets on top of the payload. Sigma being used. The wall is going to go up, providing them a bit of cover as they try to snipe out one of the members of Hickman on the blue side there. Immortality Field going up for Blue Springs, quickly taken out by the McCree as the May is aware of some flank attempts up on the top level there. You see the Hanzo there trying to go around the side, getting a drop down. And now Luger is going to be able to get the first elimination onto Bread. KC Vet answers that back onto Buzzer King. And with as good as KC Vet has been playing on these off tanks like we saw in the last match, we saw KC Vet good on the Zarya and Diva. I do not want to go up with him on the Hog. With 2 eliminations coming through thus far, Noodles and Banley getting each one of their own, taking out both tanks of Hickman. KC Vet now with a punch over to Thunder. And I think it could still be the story of the off-tanks this match. If we've got KC Vet on Hog, I'm scared.
Hey, KC Vet, are you a senior in high school by chance, and do you want to come to Boise State? I'm saying that because, like,
it's scouting.
Well, the comfortableness that this player is demonstrating on all these off tanks is something that I am humbled to see, because unfortunately, though he's not with us this year, we have another player that is very much so like that, but he's a little bit younger than I am, so he's graduating in a year or a year and a half, and that's CBMX. And so, you know, I'm thinking ahead, and I'm like, you know, CBMX, let's get you, let's get KC Vet, let's mentor you two together so that when you graduate, he can fill that spot, so to speak. So that's what I'm looking at.
Well, Dragon's being used by Hanzo, not going to pick anybody up as Blue Springs uses the rally. KC Vet caught out by the Hanzo is going to go down, putting Hickman at a slight advantage. They have 3 ultimates to use if they want to continue to hold them. And there goes the Gravitic Flux. Buzz King and Frosted Flake getting eliminations by themselves. Immortality Field placed down for Hickman, letting them survive just a bit longer. Blue Springs now back up to full strength, but it's going to hang back for a soft reset just to make sure everyone's all raring to go.
Right now, Hickman is chilling out with both of their tank ultimates. That Bongo Supercharger possibly can be comboed with Window, or Window might be used on the high ground with both the DPS and Baptiste, and that can cause a lot of damage as both are being used. The Blizzard and Rally are being popped out to attempt to counter it, and it is working out in favor for Blue Springs right now, as we do just see that kill feed filling up. The Graphitic Flux comes out. Unfortunately, Bentley is going to go down. KC Vet is going to pick up Boo, and Blaze will pick up, I think that's Keller? Keller is Seller? I don't know how to say that name. The Hanzo.
Okay, I did like that wall on top of the payload up to get up to that second level.
Yes, that is a tactic that I love seeing Maze use. Modern Frost. Now, Frost has definitely used it to help out his DPS get into a more advantageous position. But unfortunately, Thunder's going to go down early. That's another Dragon Strike within a single fight. That's kind of crazy, as we do see Blaze is going down right now to Frosted Flake. And KC Vet is picking up the Hanzo, followed by Boo on Bentley. KC Vet once again taking out the Briggs. Bread and KC just kind of cleaning up right now.
Hickman definitely has been showing a bit of strategy on their side, being able to get some of those combos like with the supercharger and the window combo. But Blue Springs has just been on top of it, answering back Hickman when they need to with just what is needed. They were able to get the rally and the blizzard to be able to counter that, and then just tear through Hickman again. Now they find themselves at another advantage with this gravitic flux being the only ultimate that they have. Red taking a little bit of damage, but KCVet continuing what he does best on this off tank, able to pick off the Hanzo, putting Blue Springs at an advantage as they push under the bridge here. Now Hickman turns around on the top level. KCVet taken out by Keen. He's going to get two, actually taking out the Immortality Field, and Bandley as well, and Kirby now getting retconned as well. So that's going to put Blue Springs at a level where they have to go back and reset and try again.
I'm not going to lie, Hickman stayed on that high ground for so long. I was very concerned about it because the payload just went right underneath them. They weren't really trying to stop it. But now I see that the play was to surround and conquer that little spot after it passed underneath that bridge access point, and that was clean.
And now Blue Springs is going to try to fight for that high ground themselves by going up the right side here. The shields come down, and a lot is going to go through that little doorway. Fortunately for Blue Springs, Fred is down, and Rally used after he is taken down. They are down one, and with that supercharger, so much damage now being used by Hickman to go through that tiny door. And Blue Springs is just going to have to reset again, but this time down one Rally. Now there is a Deadeye available from King here on the McCree, and I'm not saying that we're going to see a huge level of eliminations, but Deadeye can still be effective for zoning, which in this case of defense can be really good. Here comes the
combo, come on, please! And the Brigida goes down to the Graviton, well, the Gravitic Flux and Dragon combo, but no one else is picked up. We do hear the Nano Boost as well as the Deadeye coming out from the side of Blue Springs right now. Okay, so that was rough. They didn't pick up a lot. This fight has slowed down a little bit. Another Dragon Strike's coming out, but the Immortality Field is going to save the side of Blue Springs. However, they're forcing these fights in some awkward positions as we do see Blaze trying to take the high ground, but he's going to get taken out. Oh, that's so painful. Blue Springs, you don't have a lot of shields. Do not ram right in front of them. Like, when they were taking that high ground and you were trying to go up through the high ground, you should have just gone underneath them and gone to the payload.
Now Blade's going to try something a bit different by going on to the Junkrat instead. KCVet is now up to full ultimate charge available with the whole hog, but that Gravitic Flux and Supercharger now available to Hickman as well, and they are going to have a lot more online too. Dragon Strike is almost charged up again. This Hanzo being so good on being able to charge that up. Deadeye also available to them as well as Nano Boost. A lot is going to come through here in this next fight. A lot of Qs are going to get pressed, and two already do with the window and the Gravitic Flux used. KCVet trying to take out the Pharah in the air. It looked like there, or someone floating in the midair, and that Deadeye is going to pick up two! He actually got a double Deadeye! Shout out to King right there for getting some good mileage out of that. It's not every day that we see that on a Deadeye, and Cell is going to be able to get KCVet as well.
All right, with the distance from the spawn right now for the side of Blue Springs, they are basically in one fight territory, and having their main tank as well as their Brigida push so far forward right now without everyone being grouped up is dangerous because it could cause a stagger that will make it so the only way they'll get into overtime is a stagger on the payload, and that's not what you want when you're this close to that final point.
Well, Cell on this Hanzo has been really good, managing to charge up that ultimate a lot fast, almost as fast as a coalescence, it seems like, at time. There goes the rally from Blue Springs, and there goes the Nano Boost. Dragon Strike as well, not going to pick up anybody, but an anti-nade going on to two members of Blue Springs. The rally is not going to be enough to save Banley as the King takes him out as well. Here comes the Deadeye. I don't know if you're going to pick up another double, but just kind of using it more as a zoning tool, which if you're able to get a few more seconds off the clock right now, that could make all the difference as we're down to just 10 seconds.
Yeah, I will.
Oh, Riptire!
Riptire! Oh, I'm so sorry, McCree. Okay. We've got Blaze right now doing all the damage that he possibly can on the point, but there is a Reaper coming in with a Death Blossom, and that is a fight-flipping ultimate, but it may not even be needed as he pops it in the spawn way. No time left on the clock. Blue Springs has taken all 3 points. Hickman obviously has the opportunity to do it themselves. Will they be able to? Who knows? I don't know how they like to play this map because we've never seen them do it before.
Oh, that was an intense final match. Everything being thrown on the table there. Ultimately, a Riptire coming through. And I gotta say, I just gotta point it out again, we had a double elimination on the Deadeye as well. So that's always a good sign there.
And if Fish is watching this, I hope he is.
He's already had a rough week. Like last broadcast with him on Overwatch, he was just all complaining about the Deadeyes being really good now. You know, I don't know why it's so good now, and now it's continuing on to this broadcast.
It's because we're back to the main meta, at least in the higher echelons of SR play and the collegiate play, is the double shield comp. And, you know, back a year ago when I was still on the team, it was the comp back in the fall time too. As much as we hated it, even though Guac loves it, he likes playing the Horse Lady. Pyros obviously did not, as he's a Wrecking Ball champion. But that McCree Graphitic Flux combo is clutch. It was clutch then. It was really hard to counter even then. And Lucio's not nearly as viable, so good luck trying to survive that and getting your immortality field from Baptiste timed perfectly.
KC Vet, oh my good. Okay, I have just gotten word that KC Vet is a freshman.
Okay,
for
well
Blue
then
Springs.
start hanging out with us, because just do it.
I mean, if this is how good he is as a freshman coming into college, he's already going to be. This is a player to watch out for. If
sure.
This is how good he is as a freshman right now, in 4 years as he's going into college.
Especially with a program established in high school. Can you imagine? Oh, so lucky.
You're going to be getting some offers, kid. You're going to go far. But right now, Hickman just wants to get to the first checkpoint. That's as far as they want to get right now, as they're trying to push up to the first choke here, taking some damage from the it looked like I don't know who that was up in the air. Did you catch that, Nerdy?
It was an echo.
Okay, it was an echo. Okay, it must have been an echo. I'm so used to seeing a Pharah up in the air that sometimes I'm just like, oh, that's not a Pharah in the air? Okay, who's the other one that can go into the air? Anyway, Blue Springs managing to hold Hickman to the first point right now. Hickman tries to go up the other side. There's the echo up there. Banley trying to put some damage up onto there. Casey gets another pick onto Hanzo, putting Hickman at the disadvantage, taking more seconds off of that clock. Still no disengage from Hickman as they're going to try to push through yet again to this choke.
I'm not gonna lie, out of all the choke points on this map, this one is the most annoying to deal with. However, Blue Springs is doing a great job with it right now. They do not have a lot of shield damage, nor do they have a lot of shield break, so they're heavily reliant on target focus as well as rotations and ability usage right now, and they're doing a great job, as we do unfortunately see Retcon going down. We do have May going into the backlines, also being taken out by Boo right now, and Bentley going down. This Echo is just kind of eating them for lunch. May's gonna come out of cryo, and Blaze is gonna go take a nap at the respawn.
And Hickman now is managing to push forward toward that checkpoint. Cell is going to manage to get the Dragon Strike, so now 3 ultimates under Hickman's belt. Supercharger also coming up online, and an unfortunate stagger is coming through here onto KC Vet. He's still managing to survive as the Gravitic Flex goes on with the Dragon Strike as well. Hickman managing to get to the checkpoint. KC Vet answering that back by taking out Cell. Buzzer's still managing to get Retcon. And now another Gravitic Flux being used with the copy is going to slam Blue Springs right down into the ground. They're still not using their ultimates, so they might just be trying to run out some seconds on the clock as the May manages to burn off a few more. Is not going to be able to escape, and that is 1 in the pocket for Hickman.
4 minutes on the clock to get to that next point. And we've got, I'm sorry that I keep shortening this Widowmaker's name, but I can't figure out what those, I think it's supposed to be butt something, and that's why I'm also not saying it. That Echo is scary.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was 3 kills, though it didn't register as a triple kill. I think those were 3 back-to-back kills, soloed almost, while not even taking hardly any damage.
Blue Springs is going to have so much in their pocket. They're going to start off with the Blizzard here, or they're going to use anything with that, freezing a lot of members of Hickman. They're going to be able to take out Thunder, and Immortality Field also taken out. KC Vet follows that up by taking out Frosted Flake. Noodles, well, you're going to certainly be a Frosted Flake after that Blizzard was used on you. Oh. KC Vet now getting Cell as well, allowing to hold them for yet another engagement. Still the Echo up in the air, but a good fight overall.
So long as Blue Springs can keep this payload kind of in this really awkward area right now where Hickman's not able to surround and conquer them completely with their current comp, it will play into their advantage, especially now with that bongo placement being kind of odd. Blue Springs just needs to disengage, wait for the bongo to cool down, and then re-engage at that corner. Because of the amount of coverage that this location gives them, it plays well into their comp.
Supercharger and Rally being used by Hickman, as well as a Gravitic Flux coming through. Immortality Field taken out by Bandly. Kibya now is able to get rid of Retcon. Bandly getting rid of Kibya in return. Immortality Field taken out by Frosted Flake. So far, it is pretty even, as we also saw a couple Amplification Matrix being used. The copy is negated by Bandly, so Hickman pushes around to the other corner here, getting close to checkpoint 2. Blue Springs still has some more to use if they want to, having the whole hog. There goes the Dragon Strike and the Flux as well. But no elimination is going to come from that. Frosted Flake getting rid of Blaze 22. Quaid is finding himself in a sticky situation with the Soldier. Is going to have to drop down back to ground level to survive. Be able to survive as the Sigma and help his team keep pushing forward.
I don't fully know where that May was chilling, where Blaze is at right now, but they're close to that Blizzard. So I'm thinking we might see like a sneaky ultimate, as we do see Boo swapping over to that McCree.
KC Vet also low on ultimate charge. Him and King are down in the single digits, but who isn't down in the single digits is Bread, now having the Flux available to him. Amplification Matrix also coming online for Hickman, and Blizzard, like you said, Nerdy, going to be available to Blaze. As both teams give a little bit of chance to think here and get ready to try to push through this choke again. Still no eliminations, but a lot of damage going through the art. There comes the Amplification Matrix. They're just going to try to push through. Kane up on the second level. One of the members of Blue Springs is going to go up, try to deal with him. Forces him back down to ground level. Redcon taken out by Cell, and the Blizzard being used by the Mage is going to be used to go right through Frosted Flake again. Immortality Field set down to try to keep them alive, but Bandly follows that up by taking up King. Cell answers that back by taking out the Immortality Field, but they are down now 1 to Blue Springs, which still has 2 ultimates to use. They have been really good at managing these ultimates thus far, and still managing to keep them. Freeze is going to be trying to freeze and wall off, and now the Orisa gets taken out by Blue Springs, allowing to keep the point from being taken with 20 seconds left on the clock.
So I'm gonna give some props right now to Blaze, because they gave up that high ground, which in the back of my mind, I was over here, my eye was twitching. I was like, why did you do that? They have double hit scan. You don't want to be giving up the high ground. But in doing so, they're like, okay, I know you're up there, but I'm just gonna huck my ult at your back line and take out your supports. So that was a pro gamer move.
And a great wall going on there, forcing the rally to be used to try to survive, but going to be eliminated. Now Supercharger also comes down, as well as the Gravitic Flux, which is going to take out Quaid. Redcon is able to get Thunder. Dragon Strike also being used as the Qs are being pressed all around. Now the Visor and Whole Hog comes out. Blue Springs cleaning it up, keeping the point from being taken, and managing to win Game 1.
Remember, that's 1 of 5.
1 of 5. Oh boy, we have got a lot left to go. Well, it still is the Wildcats versus the QPs. Blue Springs versus Hickman High School in this Missouri High School Esports Association match in Overwatch in partnership with Boise State Esports. And now that was quite a map to get done. You know, you get the payload out of the way first. Certainly a big task to fill. But Blue Springs continuing on the great performance that we saw from the last game.
I think they're continuing on the heels of a great performance of last week as well, but I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
I mean, they definitely have been the high school to beat, it seems like.
Okay, well then, and even if they're not, don't quote me on that. Just continue to think that I am right, so Blue Springs can make themselves feel like that they are, you know, the cream of the crop. Everyone should have that opportunity. Don't fact check it.
But Hickman, I gotta say, they have also, you know, we have seen great plays from them as well, and they do seem to, you know, be more aware of, you know, combos. You know, when we have seen sometimes these teams at their worst in some of the gameplays, we've just seen, you know, combos, we've just seen ultimates being used one at a time. But Hickman does, you know, seem to be at least aware. They are trying to set up their plays with the combos, like the window and the bongo being used at the same time. So they are aware of stuff they can do. It's just that Blue Springs can answer it back so well.
Yeah, and that could also be a little bit more of a warm-up issue. We don't know how much time this team had to get ready, so for all we know, that could have been the equivalency of their warm-up map, and this next one, they're just going to completely blow us away. But once again, you know, we have never seen them play before, so I can't say whether or not that was their average game or not.
I mean, that's the excuse I always use. I was just warming up. It's universal.
It was the lag.
It was the lag. I was just warming up. Now we're going to go into the second match of the game. It looks like we're going to be moving on to hybrid now, which we haven't seen tonight. And, we've already seen Volskaya Industries. I think if we see... We're not seeing Kings Row again. We're seeing Numbani instead. Okay.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay.
Your soul would have been crushed if you had to deal with Volskaya and Kings Row in one night.
I genuinely... My heart would have been completely broken. I would have felt very bad, especially for Blue Springs, because they would have had both back-to-back maps that just kind of suck your soul out a little bit. Like, don't get me wrong. They won. They're probably happy, but no one loves soul-sucking maps. Nobody does.
I just got to say, we've been selling how exciting these high school matches are, but to anyone who might still not be sold, in all of the broadcasts thus far, we haven't seen Kings Row once. So that's something you might want to consider, for joining, you know what I mean? But Numbani instead of Kings Row is going to be an interesting pick. I don't know if it's losing team picks or if it's a set match, It might just be kind of scrim rolls because we've been seeing different orders of maps for every match. But for this match, it is still the Wildcats versus the Cupies, Blue Spring versus Hickman High School in this Overwatch match in partnership with the Missouri High School Esports Association. And in terms of who is going to be on defense first, it is going to be Blue Springs, it looks like.
Yes, the names have not swapped yet, but we definitely know those names on the side of Blue Springs, so they are in the blue once again, not in the orange, because that's always confusing. But, that's how things happen.
If you have a name like Blue Springs, just stick on blue.
I would love to say that, but it's never the case. No one likes to do things that make sense.
I mean, that is one of the nice things about, if you go up to like the Overwatch League, they always have their set color for their team. So
yes, it's very nice.
Yeah, it is very nice. Here it's you never know what's going to happen, and so that's but it gets you to know the players even more though, because you just look to the names and say, okay, we know they're on that side now.
Very true.
All right, we see a Far Mercy being used by Hickman here, as they're going to be yet again be on attack first. KC Vet now onto the Diva, like we saw earlier in Ilios. Red taking a bit of damage as well as Redcon, but both teams sticking up to the second floor here. None managing to push forward here. We see Bandly off on the Genji as well toward the left there. Another thing that they have to keep in mind. And for now, it just seems like a bunch of shields and a good old defense matrix is allowing Blue Springs to hold this point thus far.
I mean, they are holding it, but we can obviously see that Hickman is getting some advantage from it, as well as their ultimates are higher charged across the board than that of Blue Springs, because their Sombra is not able to get as much value from up here, as Butter King is able to get 70% of his ultimate charge just chilling out right now. And the Rocket Barrage is going to come out taking out Redcon, but Blaze is going to be able to take out the Pharah. The Coalescence is also being used. KC Vet's picking up Winter Sniper, and it looks like Blue Springs is kind of stabilizing okay right now.
They're stabilizing, might be able to get a stagger here as Keenan's taking a lot of damage. Doesn't manage to get eliminated though. Blaze 22 very low on health is going to heal up. Hickman going for a bit of a soft reset here, almost back up to full strength, and they're going to try yet again, but now we've got some ultimates on the table. We've got a Nano Boost and Valkyrie for Hickman as well. Oh, they're going to have Nano Blade. They could very well use Nano Blade
They
here.
already used the Nano, so I don't think there's going to be a Nano.
No, Hickman still has the Nano. Yeah, there it comes out. There goes the Nano Blade. There it goes, but is he going to be able to get anyone with it? He gets hacked, and that's going to stop him. He only manages to pick up one. There's a Diva Bomb coming out as well. Gonna take out two from Blue Springs, as well as the Primal Rage being used. They might be able to stabilize yet again, and that is what it looks like. Far Mercy is still up, and they are still on the point. Hickman is, but now Blue Springs stabilizes yet again. And that has been another, like I said before, like we saw in Dorado, we see the combo be set up from Hickman, in this case the Nano Blade, and yet they managed to hack him, answer back with the Diva Bomb, and keep the point.
So with both of these teams running borderline identical comps, excluding their supports are a little different, but they're both what I would consider dive comps, which requires a lot of space. So the defensive team knows that if they let the attacking team come to them on the point, by default also using up a shift or Q ability while getting there, it's going to play better for them to just let the fight happen in these open spaces as they've been doing, putting the side of Hickman into a bad spot.
And Banley manages to get elimination onto King, but Cella's been doing great work on this Pharah. The Genji Blade, though, comes out, allowing him to pick up 2. Butter King now rezzed by Frosted Flake as well, allowing Hickman to get back up to strength. Frosted Flake was hacked there by a short second. Kirby taking a lot of damage there. Mech going down now. Baby Diva taken out as well. Bread is going to have the Primal Rage available yet again. But Hickman, they don't have anything under 71%, and with only 30 seconds left on the clock, there are going to be a lot of Qs being hit by Hickman in this next match.
Yes, there will be, but it is one fight territory, and because of that, I know they're going to group up, and Blaze has that EMP, and there is a Monkey and a Diva both very close to ultimates, and I could see it backfiring.
We are going to have to see. Nanoblade will be available yet again. There goes the Diva Bomb. Is not necessarily going to pick up anyone. Instead, Kirby goes down, and the hack is coming on to 2 members of Hickman. Genji Blade is being used as well as the Nano Boost. Primal Rage being used on point, and Hickman manages to get 2 eliminations, but they answer that back with Bread coming through in flying colors for Blue Springs, managing to get a double. And now all attention goes on to the Mercy and the Monkey that is still on this point. He has to jump out of the way, and there's no members still on the point. Now they're going to contest yet again, and the Monkey goes down, followed by the Diva. Can you hold it, Baby Diva, for the next? No, you're not going to be able to. Overtime is still being drug out by Buzzer King coming onto the point at the last moment, but not going to be able to stall out for long enough with the Tracer. It's going to be a Blue Springs hold there. Really good performance by them.
All they need is 1 tick.
Yeah, and that's going to be a pretty short hybrid match then.
It could very well be very short, or it could be a stalemate. This is the one type of map that you can draw on, and it's just really sad when you do.
Yeah, and then we're going to go on to a game 4 at least.
I mean, I'm not going to complain.
No, it's great to see more of this, but I gotta say, Hickman sets up everything they need. They're good at setting up their ultimates and going into it, but Blue Springs, the way they just managed to still pull out the victory in the end is just amazing to see.
So basically what Hickman is doing is the equivalency of, like, getting all your ingredients together, mixing it perfectly, putting it in the oven, and then perpetually opening that door too quickly. It's telling the other team they know what ultimates they're going to be expecting to be going into without really having to track them that much, so it's giving a lot of kind of telegraphed cues to the side of Blue Springs. So Hickman, yes, you guys are doing great. You're using very, upper echelon level strategies, but you are a little too obvious with the usage of said strategies. It's kind of like it's a newer type of gameplay for you, and as you get more comfortable, it'll become less obvious of what you're planning to do, and it'll be easier for you to catch teams like Blue Springs off guard, so it'll only just take a little bit longer to kind of get that ESP going between each other.
Hickman is going to do a couple of swaps here, going on to the Torbjorn and the Ashe, still sticking on double dive there. In terms of what Blue Springs has, they're still on the Echo, and it looks pretty similar to what they were running last time, and it definitely seemed to work out for them. So we're going to see if they can take this, maybe even in the first engagement. They're going to go up the center here, flying up to the 2nd level, putting a lot of damage onto this Diva mech there. There goes the shield down from the Winston, is going to peek around the corner, trying to put some more damage onto them. Blue Springs down to half health for a good amount of them. Banley almost being eliminated. Not quite, though. Manages to heal up and stabilize a bit. And we do see both tanks kind of splitting off from Hickman, kind of pushing off both of, going off to both the left and right. Now the Monkey's going to go back to the other side. Banley eliminated by Thunder. That is a great pick for them. Blue Springs now down 1. Cell on the point with the Torbjorn. Thunder now taking a lot of damage, almost taken out. Diva Mech taken out by Blaze 22. Now Bread being able to get rid of Thunder as well, followed by Recon, and Bread again getting rid of King. Now KC Vet takes out Frosted Flake. A res coming on to Thunder there. Sniper answering that back by taking out KC Vet, but my goodness, Bread on this Winston. I mean, it is so amazing that he manages to stick around and turn around the fights. Like, the engagement is halfway over, and even if they're 1 or 2 down, you just then see this wall of eliminations coming up on the feed by Bread on this Winston.
I'm not going to lie, Bread is a good Reinhardt. He's He's good, but his Winston is fantastic in comparison to his Ryan. The amount of comfort and kind of the pathing that he has been showing for his Winston gameplay is above and beyond that of what we saw with his Reinhardt, as well as just the comfort and how kind of bold he is with his Winston play. Definitely shows, at least in my opinion, that he's probably spent more time on Winston than he has on Ryan.
Well, it's certainly showing, and now they're 2-0. Can they do 2, 3-0 victories from the night? We're going into the third match, which we've already done payload and hybrid, so I believe it's going to be control that's next. And so you don't normally see control as a potential match point. The only way you would see it back on the collegiate level is if it went to a Game 5, but now with everything, it's much more of an everything's up in the air here on this high school level, and so we're going to a control to potentially be the ultimate decider of the game.
All right, what control map do you think it's going to be?
I really want to see Oasis, probably.
I bet it's probably going to be Oasis.
Yeah. We have seen a lot of games end on Oasis. I just like seeing, it's going to be Legion instead.
Okay, well, for anyone that does not know, at least for us, that's kind of one of the 2 standard maps that we always see us start out on, so at least we know what we're going to kind of expect. We might see a sim TP strat, but know that if either team messes it up by even a microsecond, that getting to the point's going to be rough for them.
The one thing here on high school level is we all know what normally to expect. And then we got to also remember to take that with a grain of salt,
yes,
because anything can happen here. So we might even be seeing these maps, which we have seen so many times. We're used to how they're being played. We might be seeing them being played in a completely different way tonight.
If we see that, I'm not going to complain. Honestly, it'll make me smile because I love seeing creativity come out when you have the opportunity to do it. And right now is that time. Show us what you got. Have a little fun. Do a goblin move and, just be a Bastion and switch between a bunch of Symmetra turrets all the time on point. It worked.
It worked. His Statue of Liberty also worked.
Oh, gosh.
You are watching this match right now between Blue Springs and Hickman High School in this Missouri High School Esports Association Overwatch match in combination with Boise State Esports. The Wildcat versus the Cupies tonight. Wildcats find themselves up 2-0 as we go on to Legion for the third game.
Okay, so both the teams right now are going with the dive comp. That's going to be fun. Are we going to see... Oh, Casey's pulling out the wrecking ball. Okay, I'm sorry, Casey. I'm not trying to put pressure on you, but I hope you get a boop. I hope you get a clean boop.
We will see. He will have immortalized himself in terms of off-tank skill if he can do that.
Yes, because that would put him up on par with Pyros as we see him roll through on the back line and hit the D.Va, but it's just not quite enough, and it's okay to just, get those E's and shift abilities out from the enemy team. That's all you're doing.
Oh, did he manage? He slammed right into one. He managed to get one! He took himself out, but he got one.
No, that was Winter Sniper. Winter took out B-Parts.
We had so much pressure on KC that Winter was like, hey, I can do what you guys want. Notice me as well. Bandley doing great job on his hero as well, being able to get a double with the Pharah. And now Hickman manages to take the point, finding themselves in the lead now. Winter Sniper following that up with Redcon. Blaze22 answering that back. There goes a boop onto Winter Sniper, finally taking him out the way he started off this match with one of those environmentals. Ice-T resing Redcon as well, taking Blue Springs back up to full health. KC Vet is waiting, just waiting.
So Hickman there, as we saw, had point control. But there is something that Doc says a lot, and Shifty does as well, is win the fight, then win the point. Because by putting themselves on that point, they literally allowed Blue Springs, I can English, to surround the point and just pick who they wanted to put damage on first and take them out and then claim the point for themselves with a clean out with everyone stuck at the respawn for the side of Hickman. And they're playing a dive comp, so like I said earlier, you need space. Do not put yourself into a small space if you need a large space.
Pulse Bomb going to eliminate Retcon, putting Hickman at the slight advantage, but they do not have any ultimates to use. And there goes the res, putting Blue Spring back up to full health. Beefarts is going to manage to take out the D.Va mech and heal himself up just a little. Genji Blade now used. There goes the barrage right onto the Moira, and the eliminations keep flowing for Blue Springs as the Valkyrie is used. Mercy taken out by KC Vet. Only elimination Hickman managed to get was onto Bandley, but now Beefarts and Ice-T continuing the general push towards Hickman, taking out Buzzer King and Cell.
Hopefully they've hit that tab button and realize that they are down a little bit right now and don't go for a full engage while they don't know where all their teammates are. As we do see that there is a wraparound trying to take place with this Wrecking Ball and Tracer over to the right side of the map. Butter King does have that Pulse Bomb ready to go, and so that Pharah has almost got that Rocket Barrage. The Qs are in the pockets for both sides right now, so this is going to be who takes the fight first and where, as we see Retcon go down, putting Hickman in a great position to take the point as they're up a support. As Blaze is trying to take out this Pharah, but he just can't quite do enough damage.
Well, Banley and Beefarts might be able to turn this around after that Pulse Bomb. Beefarts taking out the Baby Diva. Cell, though, keeping up the pressure, managing to get rid of Ice-T. Minefield also going to be used, as well as the Nano Blade is going to come up. Now, how well can Blaze? He's charging right into the mines, though! He is charging! It's like Minesweeper! There's mines everywhere! And now Winter Sniper is taken out by one of those mines. Buzzer King also eliminated, and that was so risky. Oh, here's the Diva Bomb. Not going to pick up anybody. I have never seen something like that. I mean, I know a Nano Blade is exciting, but I don't know if even... Oh, there goes a Barrage managing to take out Ice-T. KC that answers that back by taking out the Pharah. Kirby, though, getting rid of Retcon. Now here comes Blaze, picking up an elimination onto that Baby Diva. They still manage Mike to take the point. They managed to get it. Blue Springs with the first victory. As I was saying, Nerdy, a Nano Blade is exciting. I don't know if I would have ever charged right into a minefield
okay,
to do it.
I'm not gonna lie, I think I know the exact pathing, train of thought that occurred for Blaze right there. It was I got Nano Boost, because you gotta do that dash and you gotta get that dash reset. He dashed in, hit 2 mines that he was trying to miss. There was a very obvious attempt not to hit them, and then was like, oh no, and was stuck in one spot. You could see he did not move and was just throwing shuriken for a hot second, praying someone saved him, and he did get saved, but that probably was so stressful.
That was, oh man, oh, like I said, you never know what to expect here. We can talk all we want about the meta, but hey, I'm going to charge into a minefield while I have Nano Blade.
Sometimes it works out in your favor, and in that case, it did.
Well, right now, Blue Springs just needs to get one more win, and they will have the victory. As they are still on the blue side, is going to try to push through to the point. Hickman takes the point, but it hasn't unlocked yet. Bouncing being taken out by Banley, with Cell answering that back, getting rid of Banley, but now Banley with Rez is going to put Blue Springs at the advantage now, as the point unlocks and is taken by Hickman. Some Symmetra turrets being placed up, as well as the Accretion, getting rid of Blaze 22. Might be forcing a soft reset. That Anna, it looks like she was in trouble, but not going to be eliminated thus far, and so we go past 10% charge with Hickman managing to take the point, but Blue Springs is going to try to push through now.
I'm not going to lie, I wanted to give a little props to the Symmetra there for not chasing that Anna, because that would have been an easy target for the side of Blue Springs to get that one-man advantage, so good on you for backing up. Unfortunately, Blaze was a little too... taking a little bit too risky of a move there, as Kirby ate me is able to take him out. So right now we've got Hickman with full control of the point, and Blue Springs down a man waiting for that full reset, while they're still kind of chilling, taking a lot of damage from Hickman right now.
Yeah, Retcon almost being eliminated due to all that damage is going to heal up a little bit now. But now they're ready. Will they use some of the ultimates that they do have? Riptire coming online for Hickman.
Here we go.
Here comes the Riptire. Oh!
Oh my god! Aw, man!
Okay.
Thanks, technology.
Okay, I can only say this right now. Let me say this. I don't know if all of you on the stream had the same like that we just had, but if the picture was fine for you, I know we just sounded like a bunch of spasms randomly all of a sudden. But Hickman still manages to keep control of the point.
Oh my goodness. If Hickman had not kept the point, I honestly would have said blame it on the lag.
Oh, if the picture was so smooth, like for everyone on the stream side, and the picture did not freeze for them, it would have sounded like we had completely lost our minds.
Oh, for sure. It probably did anyway.
Well, there goes the Sabaton Surge. Bouncing Bean and Butter King getting 2 eliminations. Banley is res, but all the eliminations still coming through from Hickman, as the Gravitic Flux is also used. Whole Hog being used by Beefarts, but it is not going to be enough to turn around this fight. Hickman still manages to take the point and go on to a third game.
All right, so that means we are now going on to night market. And this is another Symmetra map strat. We saw the sim come out this time from Hickman. We did not see it from Blue Springs, but they paired that with a Lucio speed boost out of the spawn, and that's how they managed to get to the point so quickly and push past it onto the side of Blue Springs spawn. So hopefully Blue Springs is thinking about that and realizing they need to get their speed up. They need to get to that point and establish themselves, especially with this comp that they're pulling out right now, which is that Symmetra TP strat. They don't have that Lucio for that extra little bit of speed right now, whereas the side of Hickman does. So it's gonna be who gets it down first.
Well, Hickman putting up quite a valiant effort, managing to get one victory in control, which going up against a team that we have seen to prove themselves like Blue Springs, I gotta give them props for being able to do that. And now Hickman with a bit of a Sombra and the Reaper, they're going to use that Symmetra teleport there, Blue Springs, though, to get right onto the point and take control of it. The only one that's kind of peeled off is that Genji we see in the back there. And now the Wrecking Ball comes on with the Zarya bubble. Just going to try to get a little bit more of that charge going for the Zarya. And now we still see no one managing to take the point yet. Now it unlocks. Blue Springs going to easily claim it. And now Hickman just has to try to find a way to push through here.
I will not lie, I'm very happy. That was a perfectly executed plan of attack right there from the side of Blue Springs. It's now going to be very difficult for Hickman. They have to catch people out of position right now in order to take this point because they need space in order to operate, whereas Blue Springs does not. These are the things you need to be thinking about when you're doing these engages. If you take the time and, you know, stay outside the point, give it up easily, and try to focus more on fighting, so to speak, like Hickman did when they had that faster comp, it's not always so smart because they needed to be outside to fight, and they just let Blue Springs go right inside.
Now we have a bunch of Symmetra turrets up on the point there, something Hickman is definitely going to have in the back of their minds, because it's not going to be good if they just go through that choke. We do see the Wrecking Ball coming in here, taking a whole bunch of damage, and Redcon and Ice-T are going to be eliminated, though, so Hickman now with the advantage. But the Reinhardt, look at him answering back with those two flame strikes, managing to keep Blue Springs on the board. KC Vet, how good of a tank are you? That is insane!
Not gonna lie, KC Vet, you're getting my vote this time. Again. And I hope you get it. As we're seeing the teleporter, oh my goodness, what a great teammate. This Blaze walked back to set up the TP to make sure that during this last two fight section right here, if they lose someone, they can TP back easily. Hopefully they didn't put it right in the window and it's behind the point so that it's not so easily taken out. As we see Wrecking Ball coming in right now, Kirby 8me trying to survive is getting stunned, and all of the C abilities being used on him. The Coalescence are both sides coming out. The Plasma Barrier, Redcon taking out Kirby 8me. Oh, Moira, you're getting fried.
It's just like, you know, hey, I'm going to use all the minefield on the point, and they're like, okay, have a rally, have a coalescence, and have the plasma barrier.
How many Qs would you like today?
3 is certainly enough for Blue Springs as they are past 95% with Hickman now. They're just going to have to do desperation tactics, try to get to the point. Is anyone going to get to the point, though?
I don't think anyone will, and with that, Blue Springs rounds out the Lijiang Tower circuit, winning 2 of the 3 maps, also winning out 3 of the 5 matches, meaning Blue Springs is victorious once again.
A great job to Blue Springs, and of course a great job to Hickman as well, keeping it interesting for us in control, driving it to the 3rd map. And now is the time where we talk about, of course, player of the game. And I gotta say, you know, it was passed over the first time, but KC Vet, you need to get, not only for how good, but again, you have to remember, he is a high school freshman.
Okay, but like, all right, on top of that, I also would like to point out Blaze. Blaze did some great things. There was some great pathing, there was some sneaky plays, there were some clutch moments as well. But we give a lot of love to DPS Blaze, and we've hyped you guys up for weeks. And my off-tank heart is hurting. And so, KC Vet, I really hope you got player of the game.
I mean, she's already had to deal with Volskaya Industries for the night. So, you know, just let it all be worth it with some recognition onto KC Vet right now for the player of the game. But we will see, because there might have been something in the back of our minds that we didn't notice, but some of you did. So if you have any predictions for the play of the game, those predictions will be answered very soon here. Player of the game brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union is going to come through here. And tonight it is going to be, for this match, KC Vet. There you go. And what an off-tank and sometimes main tank this guy is.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Keep playing, keep honing your skills. Get in contact with some of us here at the school if you potentially see yourself wanting to come to Boise State. But, get your foot in the door at some programs. Start talking to people. People will be more than happy to work with you. And this goes for anyone on both of these teams. Everyone in this community is very helpful and very loving, and we always just want to help build each other up. So if you really want to pursue college esports, get your foot in the door somewhere right now, even if you're in high school.
Well, KC Vet is the Idaho Central Credit Union Player of the Game, brought to you, of course, by Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like Idaho Central's helping members achieve financial success. KC Vet is your Idaho Central Credit Union Player of the Game for tonight. And like this here, the double Diva Bomb onto the point, and it wasn't just that. It was both tanks on this map that were really good. KC Vet with the double Diva Bomb, and then also Bread on that monkey. He was insane.
Yes, he was acquiring that gluten consistently throughout this entire map.
Yeah, he definitely was. Okay, if we're going to go, yeah.
And Casey Vet's Wrecking Ball, oh my goodness, it was so clean. I'm not saddened by how this match turned out. Yes, granted, I do feel bad for Hickman. It's never fun to, go 3 maps and not really feel like you won out, but they did take a map, which we had not seen previously, really. So they took one from Hickman. Well, Hickman took 1 point in Control, one of the harder maps to deal with, in my opinion. That obviously shows that they are here and they're here to stay, so it's only going to go up from here.
And KC Vet on this Reinhardt was able to take out 2 with 1 flame strike and just flood the feed with a sea of blue, allowing them to get the victory that they needed to take the overall match. And what a way to finish it out. It has been a great night of plays in Overwatch. I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank you, Nerdy, for joining us. It was fun having you.
Thank you for having me. I always love coming down here.
And make sure to be with us, of course, every Friday when we tune in and look into high school esports, because there's a lot of action, not just on the collegiate level, but a lot of talent in high school, too. We're going to be leaving you with the Idaho Army National Guard top 5 plays of the game, brought to you by the Idaho Army National Guard, which invites you to take your skills into real time with more than 10 positions, offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho Army National Guard is one of the best teams to join out there. Reach out to them at iGuard Gaming on Twitch. For now, have a great night and enjoy the top 5 plays of the game. With the Missouri High School Esports Association, showcasing Overwatch tonight with partnership. Onto Bread, KC Vet answers that back onto Buzzer King. And with as good as KC Vet has been playing on these off tanks like we saw in the last match, we saw KC Vet good on the Zarya and Diva. I do not want to go up with him on the Hog. With 2 eliminations coming through thus far, Noodles and Banley getting each one of their own, taking out both tanks of Hickman. Blue Springs add an advantage as they push under the bridge here. Now Hickman turns around on the top level. KC Vet taken out by Keen. He's going to get 2, actually taking out the Immortality Field, and Bandley as well. And Kirby now getting retconned as well. So that's going to put Blue Springs at a level where they have to go back and reset and try again.
I'm not going
to get 2 eliminations, but they answer that back with Bread coming through in flying colors for Blue Springs, managing to get a double. And now all attention goes onto the Mercy and the Monkey that is still on this point. He has to jump out of the way, and there's no members still on the point. Now they're going to contest yet again, and the Monkey goes down, followed by the Diva. Can you hold it, baby Diva? It would have sounded like we had completely lost our minds.
Oh, for sure. It probably did anyway.
Well, there goes the Cervaton Surge. Bouncing Bean and Butter King getting 2 eliminations. Banley is res, but all the eliminations still coming through from Hickman as the Gravitic Flux is also used. Whole Hog being used by V-Farts, but it is not going to be enough to turn around this fight. Hickman still manages to take the point.
Used on the high ground with both the DPS and Baptiste, and that can cause a lot of damage as both are being used. The Blizzard and Rally are being popped out to attempt to counter it, and it is working out in favor for Blue Springs right now, as we do just see that kill feed filling up the Graphitic